Bills Mafia, what's going on? Before we jump into this wild, unexpected, headline-shaking development, let me start by saying something that reflects exactly where this organization is right now. This team is working every single day to improve, to sharpen, to evolve, and to position itself for better results. Everyone inside One Bills Drive knows the expectations. They know the standard, and they know the fan base is hungry for a championship. So before we dive in, hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss any of these exclusive updates. This is your home for the most in-depth Buffalo Bills coverage. Bills Mafia, if you want to check out the official Buffalo Bills store, the link is in the description and in the comment. Tons of new Sideline gear and hoodies available. Now, let's talk about the bombshell that just dropped. Bills fans, on Friday, the NFL world stopped for a moment. Not because of a trade, not because of a big signing, but because the Buffalo Bills officially interviewed Philip Rivers, yes, that Philip Rivers, for their head coaching vacancy. And look, I know the initial reaction across social media. A lot of fans laughed it off. A lot of analysts brushed it aside. A lot of people said, there's no way the Bills are actually considering this. But then came NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport with a quote that flipped everything upside down. The chances that Philip Rivers could be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills are not zero. This is real. Think about that for a second. This isn't just a courtesy interview. This isn't just a PR move. This is the Bills legitimately evaluating one of the most unique coaching candidates the league has ever seen. Philip Rivers, potential head coach, Buffalo Bills. It sounds insane, but it might not be. Let's break down the resume because Rivers is not your typical candidate. After retiring in 2020, he spent 4 years coaching high school football at St. Michael Catholic in Alabama. And by all accounts, he wasn't doing it for attention. He was doing it because he loves the game. Then, this past season, the Colts called him out of nowhere when they were desperate for a quarterback, and the 44-year-old Rivers, who was literally at home coaching teenagers, stepped in and played 3 NFL games. He went 0-3, yes, but he completed 63% of his passes, threw 544 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, and showed that his football mind is still razor-sharp. More important than the stats, though, the reaction. Players respected him immediately. Coaches praised him. The locker room listened to him. That presence, that leadership, is what some analysts believe could translate to an NFL head coaching role. And let's not forget his actual playing career. 17 NFL seasons, future Hall of Famer, 4,404 yards per 17 games, 29 touchdowns per season, one of the smartest pre-snap quarterbacks of his era. Rivers spent nearly 2 decades diagnosing defenses like a coordinator. NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah even said he was basically an offensive coordinator for a decade. That matters, especially for a team building around Josh Allen. So why is this real? Why did Rappaport say the chances are not zero? Because the Bills are in a rare moment of transition. Sean McDermott is gone, the culture is being rebuilt, the offense needs a new identity, and the organization is searching for a leader who can connect, communicate, inspire, and reinvent. And here's the part that matters most. Josh Allen is involved in the interview process. Terry Pegula confirmed it. Rappaport confirmed it. Diana Rossini added that Allen will have a significant say in choosing the next head coach. If Josh Allen sits down with Philip Rivers, if the 2 quarterbacks click, if there's real chemistry in that room, then everything changes. Sometimes the NFL leans too heavily on recycled names. Rivers would be a complete break from that pattern. Fresh, unconventional, energetic. Ryan Clark recently said, "I'd love Philip Rivers as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Step away from the recycled names, step into something new." That's exactly the mindset this organization might be embracing right now. Let's look at who else the Bills have interviewed. Joe Brady, current Bills offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, former Bills OC and ex-Giants HC, Lou Anarumo, Colts defensive coordinator, Philip Rivers, former quarterback, current high school coach. And according to reports, Mike McDaniel's scheduled interview was canceled. That's important because narrowing the field means one thing: the finalists are taking shape. Right now, the most realistic options appear to be Joe Brady, Brian Daboll, Philip Rivers. Brady offers continuity. Daboll offers familiarity and success with Josh Allen. Rivers offers the wild card: high risk, high reward, total surprise. And don't underestimate Pegula's interest in making a splash. A bold hire brings energy, headlines, and momentum, something the Bills desperately need after the painful playoff exit. Now, let's transition to another major storyline shaping this offseason, because this ties directly to the future of the offense in the incoming head coach. The Bills publicly admitted this week that drafting Keon Coleman might have been a mistake by the previous coaching staff, not by Brandon Beane. Terry Pegula even went as far as to say the Coleman pick was driven by Sean McDermott, not Beane. And that tells us one thing: the Beane-McDermott era is officially over. Buffalo is starting from scratch in the way they evaluate talent. Now, Coleman isn't a bust, let's be fair. In 2 seasons, 67 receptions, 960 yards, 8 touchdowns. Those are respectable numbers, but not what you expect from a second-round pick in an offense led by Josh Allen. And his postseason performance? Only 2 catches for 46 yards across 2 playoff games. Even with injuries to Palmer, Davis, and Shakir, that's not encouraging. The Bills have 2 options. 1, keep Coleman and hope the new coaching staff develops him. 2, move him via trade to free up flexibility in the wide receiver room. And based on how the organization handled him, it's clear they're open to trading him. This becomes part of the bigger picture. Whoever becomes head coach, Rivers, Brady, or Daboll, will immediately face the question: is Keon Coleman part of the future or not? The answer will shape the wide receiver room, the offense, and potentially the draft board. Since the day the Bills drafted him, Josh Allen has been one of the most polarizing players in football. People either believe he's the most physically gifted quarterback in the league, or they think he's a turnover-prone roller coaster holding Buffalo back. But after the playoff loss to the Denver Broncos, a game that ended without the Bills even being able to score a field goal in overtime, the divide exploded. Fans were arguing, analysts were arguing, social media was on fire. And now national commentators are calling out what they see as media favoritism towards Josh Allen. This latest criticism came on the Right Time podcast, where host Bomani Jones and guest Nick Wright tore into the way analysts defended Allen after the playoff loss. Bomani didn't hold back. He straight up mocked the narrative he feels many reporters push. "It's such a tragedy that he just can't get this win," he said, mimicking the media's sympathetic tone.
He argued that every time Allen struggles, the blame magically shifts away from him and toward the roster, the defense, the coaching staff, anybody but the quarterback. And this time, the criticism is louder than ever because of one key reason: Patrick Mahomes. Bomani said the comparison between Mahomes and Allen is unavoidable and unfairly tilts the narrative in Josh's favor. In other words, when Mahomes makes a mistake, it's on Mahomes. When Allen makes a mistake, the conversation becomes, what didn't Buffalo do to support him? And Jones didn't stop there. He brought up the turnovers, the 4 giveaways Allen had against Denver, and questioned why the national conversation seems so forgiving. It's harsh, it's uncomfortable, but it's out there. Then Nick Wright jumped in, and Bills Mafia, you already know how he feels about the Bills. But even by his standards, this was pointed. Wright lumped Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson together and said, "We have elevated players to a place they haven't quite yet earned, and when they fall short, pointing it out is considered unfair." According to Wright, the media built Allen up as one of the 2 or 3 best players alive, and then gets defensive when anyone points out inconsistent postseason performances. And here's the thing. Whether we, as Bills fans, agree or not, this is the national conversation right now. This is the pressure Josh Allen is facing. This is the spotlight he's living under. Because in the eyes of many commentators, the excuses are gone. Let's be fair and balanced here, because that's what Bills Mafia deserves. Why some analysts defend Josh Allen? He carries more offensive load than any QB in the league. Buffalo's run game has been inconsistent. Injuries have devastated the offense. Coaching changes disrupted rhythm, and despite all that, Allen still keeps Buffalo competitive every single year. There's a reason some analysts call him the most valuable player to his team, because the Bills go as he goes. But why other analysts criticize him? Turnovers remain an issue in big games. Postseason losses keep stacking up. National media often highlights Allen as a victim instead of a contributor to the defeats. The truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle, but perception is reality. And right now, the perception nationally is that Josh Allen needs to deliver a Super Bowl to silence the critics once and for all. Because until he does, these conversations will continue forever.